Good morning, Lindsay.
Hi, good morning, Wendy. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Not bad. It's been a wild couple of weeks, but overall, I'm all right. I'm this waiting room feature on Zoom, like, man, there's like 50 million people.
There's a lot going on.
I wish it would just let me like hit admit all the time, but
Yeah.
that is not the case. But we're excited to have you this morning. Thanks for being willing to join us and bring along members too. That's exciting.
Yeah. So the other two members of my team are on here, so we're all excited to share.
Excellent. As soon as, okay. As soon as Mike is all logged on, I'm going to let him handle the intros while I admit all these folks in here.
Before we get too far, Bethany, is your last name pronounced Shanegarth or Schoengarth?
Oh my gosh, you got it on the first try. It's Shane like the boy, Garth like the boy.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh man, it's a harsh backlight.
Ooh, Mike, I like that fresh cut you got going on.
Oh, thanks.
I'm
Just
gonna
for Creative Mornings.
I'm gonna hand it off to you, Mike, and let you kind of greet everyone as there's a waiting room that I have to like let everyone in one by one. So
Okay.
So I'm gonna handle that while you're
Yeah.
reading and doing the icebreaker.
Okay, cool. That works. Morning, y'all. We already got 18 people in here. Dang. For a Friday morning, people are active. And we got cameras on. Great to see.
Active is the descriptor for me right now, but sure.
So our icebreaker this morning. First movie you saw in theaters. Kayla and I were talking about this. It's kind of tough. First movie I remember is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Who can top that? I mean, you can't, but does anybody want to try?
Mine was The Lion King. Like I was 7 and my dad took me to see The Lion King. So.
I remember seeing Lion King in theaters, yeah.
I think that's the first movie I cried to.
Oh.
We all know what part that is. We all know what I'm talking about.
Was Jurassic Park before that?
Oh man.
Oh, I thought mine was Jurassic Park, but I had to crowdsource this as my family, and apparently it was Indiana Jones. So there we go.
Oh yeah.
Very appropriate for young children, I'm sure.
About as much as Jurassic Park, though. So I mean,
That's what I was going to say.
The Lion King.
Yeah. Traumatizing.
Jurassic Park was 93, and Lion King was 94. So Jurassic Park was sooner.
How about the first Batman?
Oh man, the Michael Keaton one.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah. Are we talking Michael Keaton Batman right now?
And Jack?
Because we can just take up the whole hour. That's fine by me.
Scrap our presentation.
Yeah.
That's strong.
That was 89. Michael Keaton's Batman.
Wow. Who remembers George Clooney Batman? What?
Oh.
What was that about?
With the bat nipples.
We needed that. I love Clooney, but I don't. That's almost worse than Ben Affleck Batman.
It was like, you're coming off ER with this? Was that the whole thing? It's like you certainly
I've heard a lot of the actors in that film all kind of panned it as the worst film that they were in together.
So our icebreaker this morning, first movie you saw in theaters. We've covered a lot already, but anybody else want to share their first film?
I think mine was Finding Nemo.
Classic.
Young buck over there.
Yeah, wow, Kyle, I was in like college when that movie came out.
Right. I was like, was that 2012?
I think it's like 3 or 4. 2003 or 4.
First film was.
Dara, what was that?
She said
And-
she's so old she doesn't even remember what her first film was.
Yeah, it's tough.
They might
You
have
know?
been black and white still.
Maybe, yeah.
Shots fired. Um,
That's my boss.
let's get another one. Miranda, you're unmuted. You got one for us?
Yeah, I'll hit another young age group. I saw Tarzan.
Oh, the animated Tarzan? Oh, yeah.
That's killer
With,
soundtrack and all.
Yeah, I was gonna say with the killer soundtrack with Patrick.
Phil
Man.
Collins.
Bill Collins.
Bill
Collins.
Collins, that's what it was.
All time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. Favorite movie or no, first movie you saw in theaters. Anybody, y'all can just
Okay.
shout them out. We got the chat going.
I haven't tested my audio. Is it working? Yep.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Dawn, we got you.
So I was 10. My brother is 21 years older than I am, and he took me to see 2001 Space Odyssey.
Oh.
It was heavy. but
Opened
cool.
your world. Yeah. 10 years old.
Yes.
Dawn, what's wild is that I am 21 years older than my brother. So
No.
yeah.
Cool.
My little brother's
the-
14.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's the best.
Yeah, I think I let him do whatever he wants, and my parents don't really love
Right.
that. So
My parents were very lenient by that time, so
oh yeah, my
Yeah.
dad's in his 60s. I think he's just tired at this point.
yeah.
He just doesn't care.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool fact.
How many people we got in here? 26. Awesome. And so many cameras. It's good to see
Yeah, I love that.
on this rainy day in Columbia. Do we got any people not in Columbia, mid-Missouri? We got any out-of-towners on?
I'm in Denver, Colorado. It is a
Denver.
Wow.
beautiful sunny day here in Denver, Colorado.
Awesome. That's great.
It is not sunny here in Columbia, Missouri.
Very much not.
Mm-mm.
A lot of-
for days.
Yeah. Unusual amount of rain.
My first movie may have been Little Mermaid, but I can't remember. Like,
Yeah.
that's one of the ones I can remember seeing, but
Well, I think that's the tricky part of the question is like, which do you remember seeing in the theater rather than like, which did you see? Because I remember seeing a lot of movies at the drive-in when I was very small, but I don't remember
Oh,
what the movies
wow.
were, you know?
right.
Like
I remember all of the pre-movie like animations
Mhm.
and videos and like the hot dog and the popcorn.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
I remember all of that, but yeah, I don't know that I remember exactly what movie was the first concert I know, but
Yeah. That was our icebreaker a couple months ago. The
Oh,
first
nice.
concert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of drive-ins, who's been to a drive-in in the last like 5 years? Is anybody like, yeah, Wendy? Yeah.
Oh man, I love the drive-in. That's
I
fabulous.
love
Bring back
drive-ins. Oh
snacks.
my gosh, what a throwback.
So good.
The
I've heard they've been
It's not that
I've heard they've been resurging in popularity because of COVID.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
it feels like everything vintage comes back, but I remember seeing a lot of it was those Austin Powers movies like in the mid to late 90s. I specifically remember seeing those in a drive-in where they did like a triple feature and they showed them all.
Oh my God.
What a night.
Put me out of my misery on that one. Oh my God.
Oh, they're playing the next one?
Was that one of them? Goldfinger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just
geez.
remember the one with Beyonce. That was like the one that I liked
I think
the
that was
most.
Goldfinger.
That's the one.
Yeah. Gold member. She was
Goldmember.
fierce. She had a fierce
Yeah.
gold outfit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, if you
It
go
was
back and
really
watch
gold.
them- if you watch them now, it's embarrassing. But at the time, it was.
There's some innovative stuff going on. Yeah. Yeah, there's but I mean, you could have driven away at any moment. You did have that option. Then
Oh
no.
my
I'm
God.
here for it.
It's so funny.
Then you're the person with your headlights on at the drive-in that everyone like boos. You clearly have not been there in a while. 'cause
Yeah,
you
drive-in etiquette. I'm
don't
all
like
off.
people who
I need to find a drive-in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's one in Moberly. Just
Yeah,
north
that's
of
the one I
There's
go
a
to.
Midway too, isn't there? Yeah.
You guys don't have enough friends with kids. Like that's how I always end up at the.
Oh, that's the
movie
move.
drive-in.
Yeah.
It's a
Sure.
real movie, so you. Yeah.
There's also like 3 drive-ins in Kansas City. They're like alive and well out there. So
Are they like hip?
yeah.
I could see that being a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not from Missouri. I'm from Kentucky, and we had like 2 or 3, but they closed over time. Like I think they just went out of business. But it
Oh,
feels
yeah.
like that's something that people would really enjoy again. But
Right?
it was such a fun experience. There was like a park so kids could play, and then but I do distinctly remember my dad refused to pay per person, so he would like make us all hide in the bed of the
Oh, that's the
truck and like
game.
cover us up.
Moberly you pay per car. So if you
Yeah.
can come enough people in a car, like when I would
Yeah.
go there in college, it was you
Yeah.
just pile all your friends in one vehicle.
Well, they used to do that, but then like as the time progressed, they started charging per person, and my dad refused. So he was like, "We're just hiding all of you under the blankets. And we're only paying for 2 people."
Yes, I'm only one man here.
Ooh, Dirty Dancing. Thank you, Craig. Dirty Dancing playing at the drive-in in Moberly tonight.
Ooh.
Oh,
What?
man.
I would be into that.
It might be a packed house.
Yeah, I would be into that. It's so funny.
That's great. I'm going to have to check this out for sure.
No, I like the movies in the park thing too. You can
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
do that. They do some good throwbacks.
I was in Florida several years ago with visiting some friends, and they would do those like where you sit in the water, like
I've done that before. It's
on
fun.
the beach, but they would always show Jaws, and it would always freak me out. I was like, I don't want to watch this and be like in a floaty in the water.
Oh my gosh.
That's pretty good. Anyone else want to share the first movie they saw in theaters?
The first one that I have been told that I've seen was A Bug's Life.
Oh,
Oh, yes.
My mom likes to tell the story because she spilled a whole like soda on my sister's head in the middle of the movie.
Wow, The Bug's Life, I've gone back and watched that as an adult so many times. It's so strange, but so enjoyable.
so good. Is that the one where they make the big fake bird? Where they like?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's the ants versus the grasshoppers.
Okay. I get that, and then the ants. There was like another type movie.
They were too close together. Yeah. Oh, man, A Bug's Life. I need to go back and rewatch that. Kyle, that's a great recommendation. That's just a feel-good film. How many are we up to?
Yeah, I don't think we have any. We've got 27. There's a few people who signed up who've not come yet, but we can go ahead and get started. I spoke too soon. As soon as I said that, someone wanted to. I'll keep doing that along the way and letting folks in. So for those of you, thanks, Mike, by the way, for manning the moderation. Appreciate that. So for those of you who are new to Creative Mornings, or if this is like your 10th time coming, welcome. We're excited to have you. We're living in really strange times, so all of these virtual events are not ideal. The whole point in Creative Mornings is that we meet in person and actually give high fives and hugs and greet each other and are able to collaborate and meet one another in our community. So it's kind of a downer that we're not able to do that, but thank God for technology and that we're able to do this and let people join from all over the place. So having folks from Denver or Lexington or Kansas City or St. Louis is really encouraging. So I hope that you find this hour as life-giving as we intend for it to be. Normally at the start of these virtual events, we've been having some community folks share their experience or what they're working on based on the theme. But given that we have 3 different speakers today from Healium, I wanted to allot the majority of the time for the 3 of them to contribute. So we're not doing community shares today. But in the future, we'll pick that back up. And just as a note to anyone, no one's really emailed me and expressed interest in sharing each month, but I would love to have you volunteer yourself. Usually it's just me tracking down people along the way that I think would be a good fit. But you may know someone, or you may have a skill or a project that I don't know about. So I'm just one person, so I can't really know everything about everyone. Next month's theme is stress. And so we'll talk a bit about that at the end. And just keep a lookout for announcements about that. But if you know someone that would be good to share for 3 to 5 minutes about that theme and how it pertains to their own life, I've got a few folks in mind, but I would love to hear your suggestions. Anytime you have those, please email those to me. It's just Columbia@creativemornings.com. So super simple. So in just a bit, I'm going to walk through our sponsorship slides. We do this every single month. While I'm doing that, if you are working on a creative project or you're interested in collaborating with someone, I think it is Emma. Emma, I have designated you. Is that correct? Okay, so Emma is going to be collecting that information. So if you want to just put that in the chat, or you can direct message it to Emma Dorge down here. What we'll do is we'll collect all that info and share it across all the folks who attended today. So if you have if you're hiring, or if you're looking for a job, or you're like, I'm a painter and I'm looking for someone to collaborate with, or I'm looking for a space, or whatever it may be, there are no limits here. So just go ahead and throw that in the chat box, and Emma will gather that, and I'll make sure to send it out at the end of the call. Additionally, as I'm going through the slides, if there's something that you're interested in, feel free to take a screenshot of any of the promotions that you'd like to take advantage of. But again, we'll send these out at the end of the call too, just to make sure everyone has them. So I'm going to go ahead and do a screen share, make sure that I'm doing this correctly. And we'll walk through these slides. All right, let's see, view, full screen. All right, can everyone see my screen? Thumbs up, we good? Okay, so obviously this is Creative Mornings. If you are not following us on all of our social channels, our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and our Google page are all here. So if you don't have this information, store it away so you can get all the updates moving forward of all of our events. Kayla, who runs our social, is usually pretty good about making sure all that info is up to date. She kills it on social every month. So if you would like to get updates, be sure to add us onto your social. And just as a reminder, Creative Mornings is supported by companies that give a damn. So that's a big part of our manifesto, is working with companies that care about the communities around them. So companies with heart and champions of all creativity. So our big three main global sponsors are WordPress, MailChimp, and Basecamp. And so for those of you who aren't aware, or maybe you've heard me say this before, so we don't make any money as a local chapter. We don't receive any funds from Creative Mornings from these sponsors, but these sponsors help power our global head office in Brooklyn and help those folks to better support us. So it's really important that we give them shout outs, because without them, Creative Mornings just wouldn't exist. But we count on our local sponsors as a local chapter here in Columbia, which we'll cover in just a bit. But again, without these folks, Creative Mornings wouldn't exist. So MailChimp, so thanks to MailChimp, Creative Mornings' official global partner for marketing. MailChimp recently acquired Courier Media, a bi-monthly magazine that delivers real stories, insights, and more to help you work better, live smarter, and be happier. So a bit about that. So it says MailChimp and Courier have teamed up to offer the Creative Mornings community a gift in honor of presenting this month's theme of Underdog, which we're really excited about. Courier's made an exclusive digital mini edition to their annual issue of Business of Design, just for our community. So it's free, it's full of insights, tips, case studies, and creative designers who are building successful businesses. So if you want to screenshot this and access this later, this would be really cool. I've got this in my to-do list later to check it out. So anytime there's like a free piece of content, I'm all about it. I'm in content marketing, so I love this kind of stuff. Additionally, WordPress is our official partner for web publishing. So they have started or reignited their Own Your Content series for a season 3. So they're revisiting favorite insights, learn various ways we can honor our work by owning our content, especially in the face of uncertainty, which is really timely right now. You can check out the library of interviews and resources at ownyourcontent.wordpress.com. Again, I'll send this out to you, but I feel like we're all at home and like for more stuff to read, this would be a good opportunity to do that. Guys, it looks like there's someone who wants to enter the room. So I'm just going to keep going and I will let them in just a minute. So Basecamp is our official global partner for project management. If you have not accessed Basecamp before, I would encourage you to do that. If you need a way to better streamline your processes for your small business or your creative design business, whatever you got going on, Basecamp is a really great resource. They've also started a new email service designed around the belief that your inbox can be delightful, and it's a completely new way of approaching how you do your email, which I think is really cool. I have not tried this out yet. It is also on my to-do list, but if you're interested in having a more streamlined inbox, I would encourage you to check it out. I'm kind of curious if you can streamline like 1 million mailboxes together, because I feel like I have so many that I have to check on a regular basis. It would be better to have one streamlined way to do it. So those are our global partners. We'll go through a couple of slides of our locals partners. So Camacho Coffee well, it's hard because we're not actually sharing coffee together right now in person, is our local coffee sponsor. So when we are able to meet again, Jesse over there has been so gracious to give us a steep discount on coffee moving forward. Cosmic Sauce is our video marketing agency. So they are, we have a couple of folks from this agency that are on our leadership team, but also they film, well, the idea is that they will film all of our in-person gatherings and have done a great job, at least with the first one when we were able to meet in person. So we look forward to being able to get together again soon with Cosmic Sauce. For Vosity, Dean over there was really gracious to reach out and said, hey, we'd love to pay for your coffee every month. So not only does Jesse offer us a really good discount, but Vosity covers our coffee. So we are not forced to raise a ton of funds and we're able to function every month. And then Equipment Share is our breakfast sponsor. So hopefully when I see you again soon, they will be covering the cost of our donuts or bagels or whatever your breakfast of choice may be. So big thanks to all of our global and local sponsors for helping us just to exist. It's good to know that all of these folks are kind of behind us even in a time of a pandemic. Lastly here, we have virtual field trips. So I feel like we're all at home right now looking for just things to interact with and things to do. If you haven't checked out these field trips, it's very cool. I know several community members have done a few of these. Mike, you're shaking your head. Have you done any of these?
Yeah, I've done quite a few actually. They're pretty great.
Yeah, so it's a good opportunity just to learn something and to see what someone else is working on. So if you're interested in these, I encourage you to screenshot this link and check it out. You sign up very similarly to the way you sign up for these events, and they'll send you a reminder and a link to how to join. And then as a reminder to everyone, like, we're not in this alone, and it kind of often feels that way, but there are 250 chapters all over the world that are meeting right now. Maybe not specifically today, but on a Friday every month, there is a chapter that's meeting. I'm in a host Slack channel with all of the hosts from all the cities, and it's really encouraging to see how people have just continued to press into meeting together, even if it's virtual, and how life-giving it's really been to the community. So I hope that you feel that way about us too. I am going to move on to the manifesto. So Creative Mornings has, a baseline manifesto for how we feel about our community and just our mission overall. And every month we like to have this read aloud just as a reminder to all of us who we are and what we intend to be to the community around us. So I've asked Isaac, who's on our team, to read this aloud. Isaac, are you here? Because I cannot see everyone. Maybe he's in the waiting room. Let me see. Nope. All right. Well, since I don't know if he's here or not, Mike, you've been really great so far. Would you mind reading the manifesto for us this morning?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections and learning from others in hugs and high fives. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome.
Thanks, Mike. In particular, in this time, I think it's just really important that we remember that everyone is welcome and that everyone is creative. I'm really excited to see some new faces here, but I hope that you feel encouraged by the talk that we're about to hear from the Healium crew. Our theme this month is Underdog, which was designed by a local member of the Edinburgh I think it's Edinburgh. I'm really bad at pronouncing European names here. So, but every month the theme is selected by a chapter of Creative Mornings, and then a local artist from that chapter will illustrate the theme. So we're really excited about this one. I think it's really beautiful. But with that, I'm going to hand it off to Carrie and let Carrie introduce our speakers. And then Wendy and crew, whenever you guys are ready, you can screen share if you'd like, if you have a slideshow, or if you just want to hand it off. I encourage everyone to mute yourself during the talk so there isn't a lot of extra noise. If you do have questions along the way that you think of, you can either jot those down and ask them at the end, or if you want to send those in the chat to Miranda Clark, so you just direct message those to her. Just encourage you not to message everyone the questions during the talk, because it can be really distracting to attendees and the speaker. So you can send those again to Miranda Clark, or you can just jot them down and raise your hand at the end, and we'll make sure to cover your question. But with that, I'm going to hand it off to Carrie. Carrie, if you'd like to introduce our speakers, and then Wendy, we'll hand it off to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Lindsay. I'm very excited for this morning. So 2 years ago, I hatched butterflies with my mind. Pretty awesome. That was my first introduction to Healium. They are an augmented and virtual reality company based here in Columbia, Missouri, a woman-owned tech company. Did I mention Columbia, Missouri? So they know what it's like to be underestimated. And so that is why we approach them for this underdog theme. But they may know what it's like to be underestimated, but they continue to be featured in magazines like National Geographic, Men's Journal, and they continue to win all kinds of awards, including this year's P&G Ventures Innovation Challenge, among so many others. So we are joined by 3 of their members, Wendy Moore, the Chief Operating Officer, Bethany Shanegarth, who leads the Marketing and Customer Relations, and Kyle Perry, who is a cinematographer and editor. So I will turn it over to Wendy to kick off our conversation this morning.
Thank you, Carrie. I just want to start by saying I absolutely adore Creative Mornings. I was a member of the Charleston chapter before moving here, and I was very excited that it opened up here in Columbia. So thanks, Lindsay, and all the people that, I know there was a lot of hard work to open it up here. So we love to share about this, and I am one of those people guilty of saying I'm not creative. I'm the Chief Operating Officer. Apparently I love a good auto sum, but I love the manifesto. Everyone's creative. But I really wanted to make sure you heard from the team of creatives who make all of our beautiful content. Not all, there's a whole team behind this. But so you'll hear from myself, Chief Operating Officer Bethany Shanegarth, who is learning how to roller skate, and then Kyle Perry, who believes in aliens. So we have a lot of fun as a team, and happy to share about our cool stuff that we're working on. So so the theme of Underdog just really resonated with us. We absolutely love it. And really, I just wanted to reiterate what Creative Mornings put to this. So when others expect them to lose, underdogs must lean on their self-trust and hard-won experiences to envision and fiercely assert new realities. And that last line, that envision and fiercely assert new realities, that is our jam. We love creating new realities. So just a little sneak preview into what we're going to talk about today, how we get creative using immersive media, using immersive realities to do storytelling and to help reduce stress and anxiety and burnout in people all around the world. So at our heart, we are a virtual reality, an augmented reality, in the future mixed reality. I'm going to define all those things for you in just a second. And we make beautiful stories inside of these new, it's not futuristic, it's already here, but these innovative ways of telling story through media. And then we also bring you into the story and help you feel the story. So everything about what we create is meant to evoke feelings of positivity, of calm. It's helping reduce that stress, helping reduce that burnout. And we really relate to this underdog theme because, like Carrie said, we are not just a woman-led tech startup. We're a tech startup who focuses on virtual reality, which is by itself kind of an underdog industry. So we love using these new tools to get real nerdy. So definition time, vocab time, we're going to use this stuff a lot. So just to share, so virtual reality is a complete shutout of the physical world. You're using a tool, immersive media, cool goggles like this. you're putting them on and the whole world disappears. So this is really taking you to another place, taking you into the environment, into the story, and your brain believes what it sees. So we're going to talk later about how we're using brainwave data to actually show the user what's happening to their brain while they're in there. Augmented reality. So this is easy. It's mobile phone, Snapchat filters. This is Pokemon Go. That really brought augmented reality into the mainstream. You're using your mobile device, you're using a tablet, something is casting a virtual element, digital element into the real world, and you can see both. Mixed reality, this is what's coming. You hear about Apple Glass, Google Glass, all of these different sunglasses that you'll be able to tap the side of and be able to see augmented reality or digital assets in the real world. So this is combining the best of both worlds. You're still wearing a device, so it's not just a mobile device, but you're able to see and interact with, and that's the key word, these digital objects. So lots of cool stuff happening in that space. And then all of it together is XR. So all of it together is extended reality. It's using all of this media, all these tools, all this technology to really just add additional information to the real world or create completely new realities. So when we refer to ourselves as Healium XR, it's because we play with all of this. We play with all the tools that exist now and what's coming. So we are led by a very visionary, futuristic looking founder and CEO, Sarah Hill. And we all like to just really ideate and really peer around the corner on what's coming up. So there's two sides to our business we're going to talk about today. And one side is Healium. So I'm going to give you a sneak preview into what Healium is. But really this is our stress management platform. It's meant to reduce anxiety. It was made by people who have anxiety, and we send this out into the world to help people get through anything that sucks. Whether you're in the hospital, whether you're at a work and you are experiencing burnout, whether you're a frontline healthcare worker who has to treat in the midst of COVID, all of these areas of stress and anxiety, and our world is at an all-time high in stress and anxiety. That's what Healium is for. It's really to serve that population who just needs to both escape that current reality, step into something beautiful, and then also experience an emotional shift. So it's not just reducing stress, it's increasing positivity and calm. So all those lovely feelings. The other half of our business is a brand studio. So we tell immersive stories for big brands. They've heard of Google, a couple of those, Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation, Facebook, VR for Good. We've done a lot of stories, and that's what Kyle's going to talk about later, is creating the way to tell these large corporation stories or the underserved population stories, and you can step into it as the viewer. So again, you're not just passively watching this on a flat screen, you're actually feel like you're inside of it, inside of a 360 environment. So we have two sides of that, and then we also have a philanthropic mission that I'll talk about later. So Healium is the world's first VR AR platform that is powered by your body's electricity using wearable data. And that's a really big deal. It's stress relief powered by you. We are the first in the world to put all of this data that's coming from your wearables. We can use EEG headbands that are really slim and light, like this picks up my frontal lobe activity, so I can actually see my brainwave data. We're using all these things that are capturing this data that isn't going anywhere. Most of the time, like anyone who has a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, you can count your steps and see how well you sleep, but you're not really interacting with that data. What we're doing is creating immersive stories that you can step into and not only experience, but also see how you're reacting to it and how that stress is shifting inside the goggles, and you're making things happen. So in this experience, this is a magic snow globe. This is completely computer rendered. Our developer and designers are really talented with bringing art into technology. And so this environment was created. You make it snow with feelings of positivity or calm. If you think about things like love, joy, appreciation, memory recall, and we can get real nerdy with the neuroscience behind this, but essentially what we're providing is a snapshot into how are you feeling when you're watching this, and you're getting rewarded for shifting away from stress and increasing positivity. This is another fun thing. So this is the creation. We want to give you a snapshot into the creation process. This is creating one of our augmented reality experiences. So here soon on the Healium platform, you'll be able to tame this jaguar by lowering your heart rate or by increasing positivity. So the colors will change. Got some good Lisa Frank vibes in there. And the colors will change for this as you progress through the experience, and eventually he'll calm. So he starts kind of agitated, and you actually tame the jaguar by calming your own stress. So everything we do is about reminding people that your thoughts have power, not only in these virtual worlds that we're providing, but in the real world as well, which is the most important thing. So I'm going to let Bethany talk a little bit here about how we tell the stories of our customers, and how we are really in the creation process. When we ideate, we really want to make sure that these are serving those with anxiety and stress. So Bethany, I'll let you jump in.
Yeah. So nothing about us without us. This expression came from the disability community in the 90s, and it's something that we really live by. We are creating a product for people with anxiety, depression, stress, burnout. And so we want to invite people that we hire, that we invite to invest in us, who also have those same mental health struggles. And so we started by telling our own story. So if you want to go on the website and find Sarah's story, it's really inspiring about how Healium was started. We recently shared Wendy's story about her struggle with anxiety and depression. And then personally, I've always had anxiety. I just thought everybody had it. I just thought it was normal. And so kind of recently it was a bit of a self-discovery that, hey, this is something that you don't have to constantly struggle with, and that there are tools out there to help manage that. And so I was actually a customer of Healium before I started working here. And when Wendy came to demo and I put the headset on, I did this waterfall experience that you see behind this photo. And it literally made me feel like I was uplifted. And so I knew I had to have this. So with that, we are telling the stories of our customers as well, because the challenge with marketing this is that, you know, people aren't searching like VR meditation. The SEO is challenging there. They're not searching neurofeedback with wearables and meditation. So what we're focusing on is telling our customers stories. So this is Raj Shah. His story is incredible. He suffers from over 30 chronic pain conditions, and he's also a heart transplant recipient. And so he uses meditation, massage, painting to manage that pain. And so we connected with him, and we have a blog on our website about him. We also did a video about him. And so he talks about how he uses Healium to manage his pain as well. And he uses it almost every day. This is one of his paintings that he has been working on. And then, Wendy, if you want to go to the next slide. What we ended up doing is taking his paintings and creating a virtual reality experience of that. And he voices the guided meditation on that experience. So it's really neat to see how he's gone from a customer using our product to becoming our product essentially. So this is an experience you can view now, and it's really incredible just to be inside of his paintings. 360, you can look all around. It's really immersive. So we're focusing on telling our customers stories so that they can connect with others who might have a similar mental health struggle. So for example, this is Kelsey. Her story is just a great example of how people are using Healium in ways that we didn't even realize that you could use it, in ways that we're not directly marketing. So she uses our AR app and our VR app, and she has an 8-year-old son who struggles with an emotional development disorder. And so she found that giving him, letting him use the AR app and the VR app, especially at nighttime to help him relax, made a huge impact on his transition time and his ability to calm himself. And so, you know, being 8 years old, everything's a game. It's really fun. He has Nintendo Switch and all the fun games. And so this was a way for her to give him sort of a game that he can use to help emotionally regulate himself. Another story that we're going to share soon is Crystal. She is a local salon owner, and she is just an incredible woman. She started the Bold Academy, and she's doing great things here in Columbia. So we wanted to record a promotional video to kind of give a better visual understanding of how Healium works. And so you'll see in the video here, that's Kyle on the ground holding up some lights for that video. But so we invited her to be a model in this production, and then it turns out she became a customer from that because experiencing the VR app and the AR app really influenced her to see how that she could use this for her own mental health struggles. So we'll be publishing a blog soon about her experience and how she really used VR, especially when quarantine started. She had a lot of anxiety. And then additionally, when quarantine kind of ended and things are starting to open back up here in Columbia, she had even more anxiety about returning back to work as a hairstylist. I'm sure you can imagine she's very close to her clients. So she was happy to have that tool to be able to manage that anxiety as well. So the other way that we're telling our stories is through a podcast. And I'm really excited about this because I've always wanted to start a podcast. And the fun thing about working at a startup is that if you speak it, you kind of have to do it because there are really no barriers except for how you can tap other people with resources. And so I said, let's do podcasts. And they're like, okay, do it. So there's no approval committee. It's just kind of, all right, now let's see you do it. So luckily the resource that I tapped wasn't too far. My husband has all of the equipment. And so we started a podcast and we have several episodes. I'm so excited to share those with you. And Wendy, if you want to go to the next slide. So on our podcast, we're sharing not only our customer stories, but also the people in the industry, in the mental health industry, the VR industry, local people who have a great story to tell. So these are just a handful of our guests that we have on upcoming episodes. Morgan Mercer has an incredible story. She uses VR to fight racial bias, sexual harassment in the workplace. And so she has experiences where you can put the headset on and you become a different person that gives you empathy and understanding. And not only that, but a way to recognize sexual harassment in the workplace because it can be kind of subtle and a lot of people don't understand the cues there. Heather Hargraves, she talks about using psychedelics and cyberdelics in mental health. Her story is also really incredible. If you like that Jaguar experience, I'm sure you'll love Heather's story. Dr. Brannon has, he's created this vibration chair that we have here in our office, which we love to bring out for our nerdy play dates. So if you ever want to come try that out, it's a lot of fun. And so when we connect virtual reality with the chair, it's just an even more immersive experience. And so he talks about how he got started with that. And then Mataka Ascari, his story also so incredible. I just feel like everybody's stories are incredible, but he talks about his life in prison and his life after prison. And he's just a great storyteller as well. So you can find our podcasts on Apple Podcasts. We'll also be including that on our website, so you can stream it from our website if you don't have Apple Podcasts. So, all right, I'm going to pass it over to Kyle, and he's going to talk a little bit more about Story Up and how we tell even more stories.
Thanks, Bethany. Yeah, so as was mentioned earlier, some large organizations have really recognized the power of VR, especially to communicate some important things to them. For instance, we've worked for Facebook's VR for Good. We've worked for Leonardo DiCaprio Foundation. And we did, at the bottom, you'll see a 4-part series for Google, taking people into the supply chain of Google, showing them where the minerals in their phone were built, where the phones are assembled, to the power systems that power Google, and also then shipping, and how they've worked on efficiencies and ethics along those lines. If you could actually stay on that slide real quick. Sorry about that. We've also taken these films to film festivals around the world, the International Film Festival in Dubai, Cannes, Mountain Film, you know, VR is really this empathy machine. You know, it's the ability to put someone in someone else's shoes. We've also worked on films in different languages. We've made films in Spanish, French, and Mandarin, which has its own challenges, but so rewarding to be able to take these films and give it back to, you know, the people that we made it about. And we also, in these international travels, we get to go to some beautiful places, and we get to take that footage back and use it in our Healium app. And so you can go to the next slide. And then here's some pictures. If you play that one video on the bottom left, here's one of our older rigs, but used to have to clap and spin to sync it. That picture kind of in the middle top, we always have to hide whenever we shoot VR, right? Because it shoots in all directions. So often I'll dodge behind a rock or hide behind a wall. You know, you're shooting blind. And if you think documentary, you know, when you're doing interviews or really trying to control the frame, this doesn't have that. You know, you have no idea what you're shooting a lot of the times. As you can see in the bottom right, our timelines are insane. For those who know Premiere, you'll recognize I have nested sequences. So it's like sequences within sequences within sequences. Usually it's Premiere working with After Effects, working with Photoshop, all of it. It gets crunched and, you know, can create this entire reality. We also have a very talented team and a very handsome dog. So we can go on to the next slide. So with the theme of Underdog, when I was thinking about that, I think of one of my own mantras that I think about all the time. And that is some of the best advice I got. So I was told, let them tell you no. Don't tell yourself no, right? You want to break down those barriers that you create for yourself and trust the learning process, right? And one of those chances I took on myself landed me this opportunity here at Healium and StoryUp. If you look on the left, that's a blog post from, I think, 2015, right when Sarah was starting StoryUp. And you can see it's 2 sentences. Want to intern at StoryUp? Write an essay you care about something you care about and how you want to change the world. And that's exactly what I did. I just emailed Sarah. You can see my horrible resume on the right. I was a freshman in college. I had no idea what VR was. None of my friends did. But I wanted to learn something new. And yeah, I just sent an email. And then in the middle, that's another opportunity I really connect with the saying of just like, don't put up a barrier, right? My GPA wasn't great, but I've always been interested in space. And so I never thought I could get an internship at NASA. And I was telling myself, no, I didn't think I was good enough. I thought I was too competitive. But then I tried and they told me no. I tried again, they told me no. I tried a 3rd time and they told me no, but I didn't give up. The 4th time, after some interest with the 3rd round, I finally got my yes. And then I got to hold a moon rock and hyperventilate. Yeah, you know, break down that barrier you set for yourself and trust the learning process. If we go to the next slide, here we can talk about something fun. VR has gone through this incredible journey of maturity and it still has a long ways to go. But here's some cameras. On the top left is John's rig. It's very intense. In the middle is the Nokia Ozo. It used to cost $60,000. And you had to have like a 110 outlet near you, a computer, a black magic box. But then things got smaller, right? And more lightweight. And then they put a screen on it, you know, and then they incorporated GoPros. And now in the bottom right, we use the Insta360 Pro 2. And it has something that I've been waiting forever for. And that is a live preview where I can adjust the camera settings and see instantly what I'm shooting. And I can also hear, which is unheard of, you know, when I'm hiding behind a rock or hiding behind a wall. That's just so valuable. And so cameras are getting cheaper, better, and easier. Also, you notice like that Nokia Ozo, the one that kind of has a tail, that's a blind spot. So a lot of times in VR, you have blind spots, either usually where the tripod is or above you. So those are some big hurdles you have to overcome, especially in editing. That's why we use Photoshop and After Effects a lot. And so if you move to the next slide, the same thing's going on with headsets, right? They're getting better and cheaper and more sophisticated and also easier to use. So one big effort to lower the barrier of entry for people so anyone can experience VR was Google Cardboard. You know, you can make this out of the Shakespeare's pizza box. Eat the pizza first though. And then you just insert lenses, you can pop in a phone. It's great for anyone who wants to just dabble. And then Gear VR came out where you could slap your Android phone into this. But there's still that problem of it's still a phone. You know, you still get notifications that interrupt your experience. The phone can overheat, the battery life isn't great, right? And then Oculus started aggressively releasing dedicated headsets. And so we're very familiar with the Go. Its price point has been as low as $150. The Rift has gone through a maturing process. It used to have wires. And then now the Oculus Quest is really the premier headset. And this is pretty much all you need. You can control it with your hands. You don't even need controllers. It's all included. You just buy it and start it up. It's kind of like the iPhone now of headsets. And also, whenever you're making VR films, you need to test them out, right? You need to see if there's motions, camera movements that make people sick or uncomfortable. You know, how long should a VR film be? That's another question you consider a lot. A lot of people used to want to make a feature-length film, but now most people are saying 10 minutes. You know, you can get claustrophobic in VR. So for some people, 10 minutes is the max. We've gone through this incredible maturing process. I've been with Story Up since 2016, and it's been so exciting. My first day, actually, if you want to go to the next slide, Wendy, my first day at Story Up, I got to experience a veteran looking at his memorial for the first time. And Wendy will tell you why that's important with Honor Everywhere.
Aren't they awesome, guys? Like, I love this team of awesome creatives, and I really wanted you to hear from them directly because telling these stories are challenging, but really, really fantastic as well. And so, yeah, like Kyle said, our Honor Everywhere, this is that philanthropic mission I hinted at earlier. So really, this is where we started. Our founder, Sarah Hill, you may recognize her from the news. She was on KYMU for quite a while as a news anchor. And really, the story that shifted was as a news anchor, she was experiencing secondary trauma through having to report on murders, rapes, natural disasters on a daily basis. So that media diet really built up that anxiety to the point of having just a complete just snapping. And so when she left news and moved into telling the story of veterans, and then how do we take these veterans who are terminally ill, physically unable to go on honor flights, if you're familiar with that process. Typically, veterans will travel on an honor flight physically to Washington, D.C. with a group of other veterans of their same war or other wars, and they get to tour the memorials built for them. And there is obstacles in place there for those that are more severely disabled or terminally ill. And so Sarah started by bringing these stories to them through virtual reality and putting them inside of the memorial so they could experience it as closely as possible to getting on that plane, going through the memorials with your peers and being celebrated for the sacrifice that they made. And so as she started telling those stories, this gentleman on the far left with his hands in the air, he was physically unable to raise his arms above shoulder height. His caretaker had taken care of him for years, said that was just, they were going to have to assist him with putting on the goggles. during the experience, he had his hands above his head. He was so excited to reach out and touch the people he saw around him, and the memorials he was seeing, again, built to thank him for the sacrifice he made of giving his youth and going overseas and fighting for our country. So with these physiological responses to story, it really had Sarah and then our co-founder, Dr. Tarrant, who is a clinical psychologist, they started investigating how do we marry story in this immersive media outlet to this physiological response? How do we bring out these positive responses, and what is that doing to the body? And so that's really our origin story of first starting with veterans, and then this is still our philanthropic mission. So if there's a veteran in your life, or if you want to just see the memorials and then share it, this is a free download on iOS, Android, or the Oculus Store. And so on iOS or Android, you can step into the story through the augmented reality portals. So please share this freely. It's something that we do because we care. And so, and really, talking about our founder, Sarah, she's awesome. And we like to fondly refer to this as the Silicorn Prairie because we are in the middle of the Midwest. And as we're out there telling these stories, I mean, we just share what we did. We're pretty cool, right? Like the first in the world to get to some of these patented technologies, this really innovative work. And we're trying to share that with users. And we're a true tech startup, which means we go after venture capital funding and we pitch to a lot of investors over and over and over again. And back to that underdog theme, I mean, the Midwest is the underdog in the tech industry in general. We see a fraction of what happens. We get 1.7% of venture capital funding for the whole country. Even though the Midwest also produces over a quarter of the nation's research and development and patents and talent. So it's an uphill battle for being placed in the middle of Missouri. People don't know where we are, and frankly, they don't care. To add on to that, we have a female founder, a female-led organization. And so of that 1.7%, female founders also only get less than 3% of venture capital. And that number is an all-time high. So it has historically been significantly less. To the point, I just thought I'd share some funny things. We fondly refer to this as where's the dude syndrome. So as a female-led company, we often walk into these VC pitches and we get kind of that where's the dude vibe and these are just a few of the quotes that I find particularly poignant on things that have been said to our founder, as in, how did you get involved in this company? After she just talked about how she thought of the idea, founded the company, and has grown it. Or who are you bringing in to run this company? So who's going to take this to the next level? Because clearly not the leadership team sitting in this room. Or what does he think that you should do as you scale? Pointing to just some random advisor on a slide that they don't know, versus looking at the women leadership team sitting in front of them. This is a real thing. It happens. These are direct quotes. And so we really just have an uphill battle in this industry on trying to tell our story over and over again, securing this funding so we can do even more good. We celebrate those no's though. We have them on the fridge. Every time we get a no, we stand on the couch in our living room and reread it because we celebrate those, we learn from them, and then we move on and we just do better. We for sure celebrate the wins. So Carrie listed off a couple of our few recent stuff. We're really happy to be recognized when we got to hang out with Apple. Apple came to our studio in Columbia, Missouri. So back to that Midwest vibe, they brought a team of 12 people to Columbia, Missouri in a bus, and they interviewed our team and told the story of how we're helping veterans. We did just win the Procter & Gamble Innovation Challenge, and we're just getting started. So we really love to recognize our team's creativity and accomplishments and then move forward. So we want to share this with you. So we have an open giveaway going right now. So again, we're going to take questions at the end, so I'm not really truly wrapping up here, but check us out on all of the things, all the social, we're pushing this. We're trying to give away a Healium kit, so if you guys want to help us out with that. And really, we just try to share the virtual piece. We also have a free version of our app. So we're not trying to push this at you, but we do like to share, again, virtual peace for those of us who are struggling with anxiety and stress. So our augmented reality app is out there on Google Play, on the iOS store. So please download it, use it, tell us what you think. As a startup, as a new company, we really thrive on our feedback from our customers, like Bethany told you. And if you are interested in, if you don't win that giveaway, so maybe wait till after August 21st, or if you want to buy it for someone else, we're sharing a code to give some love back to our Creative Mornings group. So I'm going to open it up for questions. Lindsay, if there's anything you guys want to.
Thank you so much, Wendy. It's funny that this slideshow is so beautiful and so well put together. I always feel like, this is no knock to all the men that are in this group, but I just, it's true, women just have to work a little bit harder to get half as far. And it feels like this was just so well produced and well put together that I didn't expect anything less. So I just am really thankful that you wanted to share all this with us and that you brought some team members with you. I love the team mentality of not really accomplishing anything on your own and wanting to have their voices included as well. So I think that was excellent. I have a million questions, but I'm going to hand it over to Miranda. Yeah, so Miranda's been gathering questions. If she has any, I'm going to let her go, and they hear my voice enough, so I'll follow up with my questions at the end. Miranda, do you have any questions that you want to filter through? And if not, you guys feel free to raise your hands as a group and ask questions along the way. Wendy, would you mind ending the screen share just so we can see everyone? Here we go. Miranda, you're up.
Hey, thanks again, guys. That was really wonderful. So I only have one question, but I'm sure there's plenty more out there. So a question from Carrie for Wendy and team. You have a very technical product, something that most people don't understand, but you help people with issues that most people have. What are some tactics you use to help people get over their fears with the unknown in order to help them?
That is a great question. I'll start, and then if anyone else on my team wants to jump in and add. It is hard to introduce people to a new technology. It is a lot. Actually, what I typically ask is, who here has actually used virtual reality? Well, raise a hand. Okay. So this is a higher ratio than what I normally get. And so we started with seniors who likely had never experienced it. And we tend to be the first ones to introduce people to their first virtual reality experience. So the technology, yeah, thank you for acknowledging that, because that is a barrier to entry. That's really why we love to focus on the AR side. Most everybody has a mobile phone device or access to one. So that's been kind of our, okay, you can open the door, step inside just using your phone. It's not too scary. It's pretty familiar. You don't have to close off the world. But yeah, I mean, we deal with, really, we try to serve people with high anxiety. So introduction is something new, and closing off the world can occasionally be a barrier. But really, what we get to experience more often than not is that wow moment of, I get it. Like, I put on the goggles and I get it. Like, it opens up. This is a whole new experience that is welcoming and warm and safe. So that's really the vibe we're trying to put in there. But as far as telling the story, I mean, first we're kind of educating about what it is, like my little definition vocabulary thing. I go through that almost every time because half the time we don't want to be too technical or too jargony. We also deal in neurofeedback, which is a little jargony as well. So, and Bethany, if you want to jump in, she really tells a lot of our story online, which is where you don't get that face-to-face interaction with people.
Yeah, and I think there's kind of this negative association with virtual reality, that it's very isolating, and that you're so displeased with your current reality that you just want to escape into these virtual worlds. And that's really not the case at all. And in fact, I convinced my brother-in-law to buy an Oculus Go before quarantine, and I'm so glad I did, because we found a zombie game that we can play together. And it's really fun because you're in this world together, and it's just you two, and you're shooting zombies, and you can hear each other in the headset. And so it's like being on a phone call with someone, but but you have something to do together. So, you know, obviously that's not a component of our app, but that is something that we could be developing in the future, where you can join on a meditative session with someone else. Additionally, meditation is typically a practice that you do alone anyway. So virtual reality is just a way to expand that practice into something that is more immersive, and you get that element of nature. For example, in the middle of winter, I really loved putting on the peaceful forest experience and looking around at the trees, and like my soul just needed that nature exposure. And even though it was a virtual experience, like Wendy said, your brain believes what it sees, and so it was just as impactful, just as powerful.
Yeah, and when we do demos, a lot of times we'll take someone's VR virginity, and they, again, like when you put these headsets, you can't hear or see what they're seeing a lot of the times. But nowadays, technology, you can, right? You can link it to a phone or a TV, and you can see what they're seeing. So that helps with like the quick learning curve, especially when you're doing demos on the show floor. And then also we're trying to make promotional content, right, with that green screen to help people understand, you know, put someone into the experience of what it's going to be like to use this product.
I have a question. This is more of a personal question for you, Wendy. So when you and I met, I want to say it was very, very cold the day that we met, maybe a year and a half ago. I just very distinctly remember it was freezing outside, and we met for coffee.
We met at Caldy's and had to like hold the mug. Yeah.
Yeah, we met. I think Jeremy was with us, but we met to talk about Creative Mornings and my vision for bringing it to our community. But at the time, you were working at a bank and doing something totally different. So in this kind of underdog theme, I'm sure you had like a safe, secure job. What was the kind of impetus of you making the decision to leave that kind of security and join a startup and to lead that way, and to be a female leading in this role? I'm just really curious about your personal journey and what that looked like and how that decision was made. If you don't mind sharing.
I'm happy to share.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like I do a lot of leaps of faith in my life. So I'll start a couple years back, I guess, about my journey. Came out of Columbia, Mizzou, new grad. Me and my husband got married super young, fresh out of college, and we wanted an adventure. So we literally sold all of our stuff and moved down to Charleston, South Carolina in a U-Haul with no jobs ahead of us. We'd never been to Charleston. We just did a lot of research online, and it seemed like a good place to go. Rented an apartment that was sight unseen. I cried when we moved in because it was horrible and smelled like wet dog. Like, it was so bad. And then we settled in, got some jobs. And so my kind of career trajectory started there, where I answered a blind ad for a hiring agency that turned out to be the best job I've ever had, which was working in economic development for Charleston. I promise this all loops back around. But there I got a chance to be on the economic development side, which is helping build communities, helping bring in these super large corporations like Boeing and like Volvo and things like that. But then you also work in that entrepreneur side. And so you start on all those grassroots movements like Creative Mornings, like 1 Million Cups, all of those kind of nationwide chapters that foster this grassroots creativity and startup ecosystem. And I just got hooked. I loved the startup creation. So I'm in this corporate job in that role, helping, again, like these multinational companies, but then also helping the one-person shop who just has a brilliant idea. And so I really got introduced to the startup world from the other side. I also left and worked for a very large technology corporation. They are doing change management. So there is, again, it's kind of that entrepreneurship where you have to introduce a new idea within the big corporate structure and persuade them that it's a good idea, it's going to go smoothly, and that you can really make this happen, which is very entrepreneurship oriented. And so time came that we needed to move back to Columbia, Missouri for some family reasons. And when we were coming back here, again, leaving a job behind, trying to shop around Columbia. Columbia is very different. For those of you who went to college here and then Like I was gone for 6 years and came back, and it's a whole different city. And so I did a lot of cold calling. I relate heavily to Kyle's story on just like, hey, I'm just going to send you a persuasive piece of information about how I'm really enthusiastic about what you want to do. And I cold called a lot of people on LinkedIn and all this stuff, networked my way around town, and ended up taking a job at Central Bank as a business. Essentially, my role was business relations. So I got to advise companies on how to grow, which again, went back to my entrepreneur heart, which is I love the corporate structure and I love working with the system to make cool things happen outside the system. And so I worked in that for a couple of years. That's where most of you know me from, because it was my job to really plug in with the community. But I always had an eye on, I just want to build something of my own. I've been inside this system. I know how the hierarchy works and all that, but how can I like help build that on my own? And so I think that's my creative outlet, right? I'm not the artist, I'm a big fan, but I really love the creativity behind how do you strategize about growing a business. So I cold called Sarah Hill and I was like, I think what you're doing is awesome. I've been kind of cyber stalking you for 2 years, watching Story Up's trajectory, saw you in the news, saw you doing all this cool stuff. What do you think about me coming to work for you? I can do this, this, and this, like all the things. And really, she took a chance on me. She didn't know me and I've not worked in a startup or grown one. Chief operating officer means you wear a lot of hats. And so, yeah, that's, again, a really long cycle there, but I'm a big fan of just taking a chance on what you're really passionate about: mental health, veterans, technology. This is where all my nerddom like collides. And so, yeah, it's a great company. We have a lot of fun. But it's hard. It's hard to grow a company. And it's hard to be a startup, hard to be a women-led startup. Like I said, those quotes, they sting when they come at you. They sting when they go at your boss and when you're trying to make sure that you're representing your team well. But it's worth it, and we're all really passionate about what we do. So.
Yeah, thanks. That's amazing. I work for a women-led company, so I totally understand.
An awesome one.
Exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, what you got down here, Kathy?
I'm not sure if it's a question or a comment, but I had a VR experience that kind of surprised me that I was so untrustworthy. It was a guy and he was like, "Oh, put it on, it'll be fun." And I was like, and I just closed up and I was absolutely terrified that he put monsters or spiders laying eggs in my hair or something, and almost had an absolute panic attack. And he was like, "Are you crazy?" It's just so I finally convinced him to put on a little stream, or something. But it was just, it was crazy. So I thought, as you all were talking, that could be, I don't know if that would be a selling point that for venture capitalists because, sorry for the young guys in the audience, but this just might not be something they would ever even think about.
Yeah. No, that's a great point, Kathy. Like that VR for good symbol there. We're one of a group of creators in the virtual reality industry that tries really hard to put some VR for good in there, because there's a lot of zombie killing game, no offense, Bethany, zombie killing games, scare tactics, phobias, because again, your brain believes what it sees. So this can be used the way we use it, which is filling it with positivity and wonderful feelings. It can also be used to scare you. I am still recovering from an experience that I was put through, that you fell down a pit, and I am I think it made me more afraid of heights, because I thinking about it now makes my heart race. And so you believe what you see, and you're in this immersive environment. And if you use that to scare or to introduce you to something intense, it's going to feel that much more intense. So that's really why we do so much work in this industry, to again introduce the mental health aspect of it, to remind people that your media diet is a huge impact. This is something that Sarah Hill talks about all the time, is what you're putting into your brain is that media diet, whatever source that is coming from, and that will make you sick. Stress makes you sick. It's the underlying cause for up to 90% of illness is stress and anxiety. And all of us are working at this at an all-time high. And so, but if you can reintroduce what we like to think of as like your vitamins or something wholesome and good, you're trying to counteract that flow of negativity you're getting from other places. So it's a great point, Kathy. I'm glad you brought that up, because media, I mean, we all know the power of storytelling in media, and that can go both ways. We just really try to use it for good and to tell the stories of those who can't tell the stories themselves.
Well, this was amazing. Thank you so much to the Healium team, the Story Up team, for coming to share with us today. Big Creative Mornings, like kudos to all of your team for being willing to share kind of at a last minute notice and putting such a fantastic presentation together. This was excellent. Really appreciate you being here. So thank you. Thanks to all of you for giving up your Friday morning to be here with us. Next month, the theme is stress. And I do believe we have our speaker lined up. Carrie, is that true? Okay, so I think Kristen Brown is going to be our speaker next month. The date, we'll get all that stuff out on social for you soon, but just keep an eye out for that. But again, if you have anyone that you think would fit that theme, just to share for 3 to 5 minutes at the beginning of our session, I would love to hear from those folks. So if you would send those names my way. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for being here. This will be up on our website later this evening if you want to share it with a friend or if you want to watch it again. So appreciate y'all being here. Have a good Friday, and we'll see you again soon.